Friends of the Women Awakening Project, we are here today at the New England Peace Pagoda with Sister Clare Carter. Thank you so much for being here with us.
You are so welcome. It's an honor.
Yes. And first of all, maybe we can start by telling our friends what is this Peace Pagoda about?
Peace Pagoda, just a tiny nutshell. Buddha lived around almost 2,600 years ago. And when the end of his physical body, his physical life, body was cremated, and the pieces of bone after the cremation were considered most holy treasures and divided. I always like to say it was a treasure that had nothing to do with money, only sacredness. Anyway, so people started building what we call pagodas. The actual Sanskrit, which is the classic language of India, is stupa, S-T-U-P-A. And but stupas or pagodas have wherever Buddhism moves, pagodas arise. It's very interesting. And so our order originated in Japan. The actual order is named Nipponzan Myohoji, and was founded around 1917 by a monk by the name of Most Venerable Nichidatsu Fuji. He appealed to the Japanese military spiritually to desist from the war, but anyway, the wars went on. And he also saw Hiroshima and Nagasaki soon after, not right after, but soon after. World War II was just profoundly, I don't know what to say, so horrifying. Where humanity, or where a portion of humanity went and what people went through. So he felt that after World War II, that the global civilization there was a real danger that the whole global civilization would become much more materialistic and ever losing its moorings with spirituality more and more, and in more technologies and just materialism in this modern manifestations that we have. And so having been through all that, not been through the war, but seen it. He had also walked, by the way, and for years with Mahatma Gandhi. He had seen both the heights that humanity has and also how bad we can go. He believed it was time to start building pagodas after World War II because it is a manifestation of the universal heart and mind of the Buddha, of the Dharma, of the great teachings, of the compassion, of the oneness of humanity and the oneness, interconnectedness, and the sacredness of all life. Even we focus a lot on the humanity because the humanity needs a lot of help. For sure we do. But it is also the spiritual treasure, sacredness of all. So it is the compassion of the Buddha. So he started in Japan because at that time, something like over 100 of the cities had been firebombed, gone, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, nuclear bombed. Japan was, almost nothing left, and had to rebuild its spiritual grounding and foundation. So he started building pagodas first in Japan and then elsewhere. It's the first one in the United States, and there are several in Europe and in other Asian countries. It is a touchstone. So many people come. And as time, it's already been 40 years since it was dedicated. It's been here some time. And but I'm not exaggerating, honestly. I'm sure if you just kind of randomly interviewed people, I'm sure what they would say, of course, but we hear mostly the comment that when people come up the hill and see the pagoda, there's tremendous stress of this all times, and fear and depression, all these, just honestly, it kind of let go somehow, and you can literally feel the earth, the trees, the animals. It's not like everything's perfect or anything, but the energy of life is more, mm, the inner purity of life. Somehow people can feel more in themselves. And we're trying to, Reverend Carter, who we met downstairs, he's trying to make little things that places people can spend more time. He wants to encourage people to take the time. United States, I think maybe a lot more than Italy, is like so wound up, all rest of us. And everybody's got 2 months and all that. So yeah, try to encourage like more sitting places, and he wants to make a little place with a little warmth inside. Winter people very. The idea is take time. Take time.
What was your gateway to spirituality, and why did you decide to become a nun in the Japanese Buddhist tradition?
Almost, in some ways it was instant. It didn't really happen instantly. I ordained at 81. I met this monk, Shonin, in the prayer in 77. And, but he was chanting at a place in Boston in the morning. Anybody can tell a very brief story. Chanting in the morning. Anybody could come. As soon as I found that out, I was there the next morning. I didn't miss a morning. I really, it was just this. I was a spiritual seeker. There's no question. I was in my I guess I was 26 and something like that. And I was quite a spiritual seeker. And I wasn't so much going to go way off, but I just, I didn't think actually I would ever find what I was looking for, to be honest. I wanted some way to devote my life from a spiritual place for, in large, broad strokes, peace and justice, for changing the conditions in this world, which are, unbearable. And they're more unbearable now than they even were back then. So, but I knew that I didn't have the capacity inside myself to sustain a life of what's called activism or whatever without a spiritual, it needed a lot of definitely nourishment and constant. And then I can try to give the dedication and devotion to the larger welfare. So that's what. So I just felt it. It wasn't intellectual. Yeah, of course, necessary to do the reading, but it was feeling. The very first feeling I got when this monk appeared, he was freely walking on the street, coming to this vigil, big circle of people. And I thought, wow, there's a lot of freedom in his spirit. It's beautiful. I liked the freedom. Because he was just praying, offering this prayer every direction. No discrimination, just boom. And I also felt that was one feeling, and I also felt it's so encouraging to everyone, even if they don't necessarily think about it. Or there's something. That's those were my feelings. It wouldn't be necessarily anyone else's. I felt he's offering encouragement to everyone. Everyone needs encouragement at some deep level. And so those were my first. But then I started chanting. If somebody had an office there in Boston that let him set up a little altar for half an hour in the morning at first. And there was a feeling also of trust. That was the other, it was to me beyond. There was a Buddha statue and a picture of the founder, Most Venerable Fuji, and I felt like no analysis about anything, just So I just so here I am. That's my story.
There was a recognition.
Yes,
there was.
Yes, very deep longing. And when I say trust, that I actually love all religions. I, study world religions to some extent, a lot of things, but somehow this way, it had nothing complicated in it. That's what I mean by no analysis. It wasn't, so trying to figure anything out. There was something in this, it's just, no, where you go. Yeah, here today, just no. Grateful.
It sounds like that this mantra that you repeat, Myohoji.
It is a mantra.
It's also the path.
It is the path. And in essence is, you can't translate it. You can't, it's way, but it is, in this time, in Buddhism, and I think a lot of spiritual traditions, the time we're in has a prophecy about it. And this is called the Dharma declining age, the age of the decline of the Dharma. So much that it virtually disappears. The Dharma itself doesn't decline. The people's mind, no relation to. And Dharma means teaching. It also means the actual truth of existence, because the teachings come out of that. So all of that is, and obviously, given all of the weapons we've made and the toxins and the everything, it's like, well. So anyway, this time is foreseen by Buddha, and our understanding is he knew that people's spiritual capacities were not strong, that the conditions in the world are perilous, and people's state of mind is not doing too well, and what to do, So that this is our understanding, that foreseeing this time, this mantra is a medicine from the heart of the Buddha. It is said that it contains all the virtue of all the past lives of Buddha. We don't understand. How can we understand that? But we believe it. But he put everything into this prayer because hopefully people can repeat this mantra. Maybe they can't. Some people still can do great meditation. Some people can, and it's wonderful. But in other ways of practice, some people are carrying this forward, and that's all definitely for the good. But in terms of very general, it's not going to go out so much. People don't feel can do. So this one, it's not like everybody's racing to chant this prayer, but it's a very open. And when we do peace walks, it brings it out into the street, into the city, into the town. We've walked so much in the last 25 years, all over the place, to Washington, D.C., and to the UN, and to all around Massachusetts and the Northeast. And we also did a year-long walk along the East Coast of the U.S. to the Caribbean, to parts of West Africa, retracing the transatlantic slave trade. A lot of things. I'm not saying like, we did. I don't mean it that way. I just mean the prayer is moving around. It's free. It's freely. But I'm only mentioning because of the times. That's what I'm trying to get at. And also, like this interfaith pilgrimage of the Middle Passage. In the United States, it would be between 50 and 100 people walking every day. Now, they weren't all chanting. Easily, many did, but more than half didn't. They just walked. But, the prayer was, and the drum was just going the whole time for over a year. And then we would go to sites of terrible, terrible, horrible suffering and make a circle, and all different prayers would be offered, And also every morning of the pilgrimage, we would pray a little while with the drum, but then if people had songs or poetry or other prayers or whatever, all to nourish the walking. So I'm using this as how the form the Buddha foresaw. And so this, actually the idea of combining it with the drum was Nichidatsu Fuji's. He had a vision. He was doing very ascetic practice because something he knew inside he had to do. He had some mission. He didn't know how to. He already was chanting, already had studied all the other schools of Buddhism. He had studied Christianity. But anyway, he did very hard ascetic practice. And at the end of that, a farmer appeared, very elderly farmer with a basket over his shoulder with a baby in the basket. It was very unusual. And he had a drum. Now no wonder he'd get killed. And he walked up to Nichidatsu Fuji. And so our teacher says, at that time he was 30s. Who are you? And he said, I am the Bodhisattva, eminent conduct, and this is the Buddha on my back. And walked off, chanted. End of story. So Fuji Guruji understood this is what you're supposed to do. This is you get out there and just do it. And he did. We also find, I do have to say, that people are starting to come here a lot more. So in this moment in time, it's important to walk, but also to keep, like we keep these doors open if we are here all the time. And we're trying to find ways, people with health issues now, we have to run around with all that, but and try to keep ourselves healthy enough to be strong these days. But like never before, we've been here a long time, but a lot more people are coming and feeling, really honestly, rather desperate for something from the spiritual side. People say, like a young woman who she's about 50 now, but she came up the other day. She had been a student, undergraduate, 30 years ago or something. Came up once or twice, nice, but she's gone through really serious whatever. And she said she just begged for help. Her soul. And she just got in the car and drove here. And she came and joined the prayer and was weeping, and this kind of thing happened. So it's also important to stay and practice more, bring more prayer so that coming here can feel a more spiritual sense or vibration or something, a depth of compassion, really. That's what she said. She said, I so need to feel peace and love. And she said, somehow I just can feel it. It's from the prayer. So.
Beautiful. I find very important for these times the aspect of spirituality as also an active practice to seed some peace, some compassion, some understanding in the social, political, and everyday life. Because sometimes we think spirituality is to find inner peace, and whatever happens outside is outside of our control, is not in our control. So it seems like in your tradition, what you're doing is not to keep the things so divided.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's absolutely one. And we also go to standouts to stop the assault on Gaza. And we keep that up too, as much as we possibly can. Yeah, everything is really seamless, but it's all about the spiritual nature of existence and the spiritual nature of all of us. And, yeah, people don't feel an alternative. So just feeling like caught in a vice lock, always. And getting more and more fearful or more and more angry or more and more everything. And so it is the time for the whole spiritual realm to just open up for everyone's welfare. Whenever we can open it up, we must open it up. You have to practice it. By open it up, I mean practice it openly, And we do have to work on ourselves, but it's so that we can do a better job, for others. But it's the political realm is, but it needs guidance. There is nothing guiding that political realm except, sheer raw, power issues, money, and things. This little glimmers of some morality once in a while. To be so uncookable. It means to establish the highest teaching in order to bring peace and comfort to the land and the people. That's the basic meaning. That was an essay written by the monk in the 13th century in Japan who first chanted Nam Myoho. His name is Nietzsche. He wrote that essay and delivered it to the political leadership of his time. And he's like, no. But it's the kind of guiding star that, we can't just say, oh, politicians are all bought off. No, hang on. Whatever the reality may or may not be, we have to be grounded in reality. But, and this is hard. It's so easy to get cynical. It's so easy. Oh, gotta pull ourselves down. And, it's really, really a job. But, and in our daily prayer to, constantly pray for those both who are being terribly harmed by the powers that be these days and those that do the harming. You know, we don't know what to do about everything, but we have to through prayer, through activism with these standouts and peace walks, and but we have to believe, because fundamental to this way of practice, it's really, really the core of it is to reverence, to revere the Buddha nature indiscriminately in everyone. Everyone. That means a certain leader that you feel is like, still try, because the teaching is that Buddha nature, the same Buddha nature, is in everyone, the greatest saint and the most heinous, actor that we could imagine. Same Buddha nature, same. And so, of course, they're not in touch with the Buddha nature, but have to try. And so it's a time where spiritual practice has to really come out, and give it all, try to nurture people, inspire people, bring people together. Everything divides very easily, doesn't come together too well, but, like Pagoda together. Pagodas are the harmony of all elements. It's everything of all, the harmony, the oneness of everyone and everything. But anyway, and it's really, again, the heart of Buddha. So that's not Myohoji. It's not really not Myohoji. You have to find out why.
So thank you so much.
Oh, welcome.
You are leaving me with this idea of a monastery, or a walking monastery.
Yes.
Which I really love. So thank you for what you're doing here, for the peace you are providing and you are keeping sacred, and for the caring attitude that it seems to me you're inviting everybody to keep on caring about life, caring about the heart.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Thank you so much for this.
You're so welcome. And thank you for your work to draw out different stories of different women practicing spirituality today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need encouragement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you want to know more about Sister Clare and the England Peace Pagoda, you will find a link below. Also, if you want to explore more about the Women Awakening Project, you will also find our website and ways to support us. So, thank you.
Nam-myo Horen-kyo. Nam-myo Horen-kyo. Nam-myo Horen-kyo. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister.